Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive right here on the Book Summary Podcast. Today we're tackling a topic that's both trendy and timeless. Manifestation. Turning those dreams into reality. And we've got a masterclass guide all about it. Trust me, it goes way deeper than just thinking happy thoughts.
You know what's fascinating about this guide is that it really starts by acknowledging that a lot of people out there are struggling. They're open to exploring all sorts of different approaches to try and, improve their lives. And this really taps into that. I think universal desire for more abundance, more happiness, more fulfillment.
Totally. And it dives right in explaining manifestation in a way that I think even skeptics can appreciate. Like, it's not about magic. It's about transforming those ideas, those desires into tangible realities.
Yeah, and it cleverly connects manifestation to the law of attraction, but it doesn't just stop at, the basic concept. It really delves into like the science behind it, exploring how our thoughts can actually rewire our brains, neuroplasticity. It's about recognizing the power of belief to shape our reality.
So it's more than just thoughts become things. It's about understanding the mechanisms behind that process.
Exactly. And the guide even quotes Rhonda Byrne, author of The Secret, who famously said, "We are what we think consciously and unconsciously." So it's really underscoring how powerful our thoughts are, whether we're fully aware of them or not.
Yeah, there's another quote that really stood out to me. It was from Shannon Kaiser. She said, "We are all like magnets, both reflecting and attracting what we hold in our thoughts."
That's such a powerful image, right?
It is, and it really speaks to the importance of, becoming aware of our thoughts and intentionally choosing to focus on what we want to attract. Now, before we go any further, if you guys are finding this deep dive helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the Book Summary Podcast for more insightful explorations like this one.
Absolutely. Now, the guide doesn't shy away from addressing some of the common misconceptions about manifestation. It acknowledges that it's not some magic formula for getting everything you've ever wanted. Right. Like, one misconception it tackles is this idea that manifestation guarantees you'll get things exactly as you imagined. Instead, it emphasizes receiving what serves our highest good, even if it looks different from our initial vision.
So it's like the universe has a better plan sometimes.
That's a great way to put it. And the guide also debunks the myth that manifestation is foolproof. It acknowledges that it may not work if our desires are misaligned with our subconscious beliefs or the greater good.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
If you secretly believe you don't deserve success, that belief could totally sabotage your efforts.
Precisely. It's about aligning your conscious desires with your deeper beliefs. And here's another important point. The guide emphasizes that, manifestation is a process. It takes time, patience, and consistent effort.
So you can't just wish for a dream body and expect it to happen overnight without putting in the work, right? Like, you've got to exercise, eat healthy, be consistent with your efforts.
Exactly. You've got to meet the universe halfway. And speaking of time, the guide offers this fascinating perspective. It challenges us to think of time, not as like this rigid linear construct, but as something more fluid. The universe doesn't operate on our human timelines.
So are they saying we shouldn't focus on deadlines or specific time frames when manifesting?
Not necessarily. It's more about understanding that things may unfold in unexpected ways and on a different timeline than we anticipate. It's about surrendering to the process and trusting that things will happen in perfect timing.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that can be a tough one to wrap your head around, especially in our fast-paced world where instant gratification is the norm. But I think it's an important reminder to be patient, trust the journey.
Absolutely. Now, to really get things rolling, the guide suggests this really powerful exercise. Imagine yourself 2 or 3 years from now and write down your ideal day, like in vivid detail.
Like scripting your dream day, what you'll be doing, who you'll be with, where you'll be living, what kind of work you'll be doing, all the juicy details.
Exactly. And it's not just about writing it down. The guide encourages you to engage all your senses. What do you see, smell, taste, hear, and feel on this ideal day? Most importantly, how do you feel emotionally?
That sounds so powerful. I can see how immersing yourself in that vision daily could really shift your energy and start attracting those experiences.
It's about aligning your vibration with the reality you want to create. In addition to this visualization, the guide recommends keeping a journal.
Okay, so what kind of journaling are we talking about here?
It's about recording your goals, tracking your progress, reflecting on what's working and what's not, and becoming aware of your growth. It's a way to stay focused and accountable to yourself.
And to keep that positive energy flowing, the guide also emphasizes the importance of a gratitude journal.
Right. Taking time each day to reflect on what you're grateful for, especially those things that are moving you closer to your goals, can really amplify the manifestation process.
It's like shifting your focus from what you lack to what you already have, which in turn attracts even more abundance into your life. Makes sense.
Now, you might be wondering about specific techniques to get started with manifestation, and the guide doesn't disappoint. It's like opening a toolbox full of different methods and practices.
I love that analogy. It's like a buffet of manifestation methods. You get to pick and choose what appeals to your taste.
Exactly. And the guide reminds us that mastering these techniques takes time and practice, just like training a muscle.
So we shouldn't get discouraged if we don't see instant results. It's about being patient and persistent with our practice.
Right. Now, the guide actually shares a personal story that beautifully illustrates this point. The author talks about their initial skepticism towards manifestation. They were a self-proclaimed analytical and critical thinker who didn't believe in woo-woo things.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I used to be pretty skeptical about all this manifestation stuff too. But then I started experimenting with some of the techniques. And let's just say I'm a little more open to the possibilities now. What happened with the author of the guide? How did they go from skeptic to believer?
Well, they started by writing down their ideal day 3 years into the future. And they described waking up in Curacao, enjoying their morning coffee on their patio, listening to the birds sing, a very peaceful, idyllic scene. But at first, they struggled to truly visualize it.
That's interesting. So even though they wrote it down, the image wasn't quite coming to life for them yet.
Right. But they kept at it, consistently reading their vision, recording themselves reading it with passion. And gradually the image became clearer, the feelings more intense. And guess what? Fast forward a couple of years, and they were actually living that exact scenario. They were in Curacao, enjoying their morning coffee on their patio, listening to the birds.
Wow, that's incredible. It really speaks to the power of consistent visualization and aligning your energy with your desires.
Absolutely. Now, in addition to journaling and visualization, the guide also mentions techniques like prayer and meditation, especially guided meditations.
Oh yeah. There are so many great resources available online and through apps these days for guided meditations on all sorts of topics, from abundance and love to health and healing. And meditation in general have a host of mental and physical benefits, so it's a win-win. Have you tried guided meditations?
I have. I find them incredibly helpful for focusing my intention and cultivating a sense of peace. But the guide also emphasizes that not every technique will resonate with everyone. So it's about finding what works best for you.
It's about personalizing your manifestation journey.
Exactly. Now, if you're enjoying this deep dive into the world of manifestation, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. There's so much more to uncover. We'll be back with part 2 after a quick break.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to our deep dive into manifestation. Before the break, we were exploring all these different techniques, and I think it's worth highlighting affirmations, which the guide really dives into as a powerful tool.
Oh yeah, affirmations. I've heard about these. It's basically where you declare your desired outcome as if it's already happened, right?
Right.
Like I'm attracting abundance into my life.
Exactly. And the guide emphasizes the importance of not just saying the words, but really feeling them. It's about embodying the emotion behind the affirmation.
So it's not enough to just repeat the words mindlessly. You have to really believe them and feel the energy of them.
Precisely. It's like planting a seed in your subconscious mind and then nurturing it with belief and emotion. The guide also recommends engaging all 5 senses when practicing affirmations, making the experience as real as possible.
Oh, that's interesting. So if I'm affirming that I'm attracting a new job, I might visualize myself sitting in my new office, feeling the excitement of the new role, even smelling the fresh coffee brewing in the break room.
Exactly. The more senses you engage, the more powerful the affirmation becomes. And speaking of powerful techniques, the guide also suggests creating vision boards. You've probably seen these before. But the guide goes beyond just pretty pictures.
Okay, so what's the secret sauce for creating a truly effective vision board? Does it matter if it's physical or digital?
The guide emphasizes that it's not about the format, but about the energy you infuse into it. It's about choosing images and words that truly resonate with your desires and evoke strong positive emotions. And the guide encourages you to place your vision board somewhere you'll see it daily, as a constant reminder of your goals.
So it's like a visual anchor for your dreams.
Exactly. Now, the guide also shares several compelling stories about people who have used these techniques to manifest amazing things in their lives. One story that really stood out to me was about someone who manifested a certain number of interview candidates simply by believing it would happen.
Wait, they basically willed those candidates into existence with their belief?
Well, it wasn't quite that simple. It was more about aligning their belief with their actions. They were so confident that the candidates would show up that they even placed the exact number of pens in the boardroom ready for their arrival.
That's amazing. And of course, the candidates showed up as if on cue. It's almost like they were drawn in by that strong, unwavering belief.
It's a great example of how our thoughts and beliefs can influence outcomes, even in seemingly external circumstances like job interviews. But the guide doesn't just focus on career successes, it also shares stories about people manifesting things like dream homes, romantic relationships, and
Right.
even improved health.
It's incredible how these principles can be applied to so many different areas of life.
Absolutely. And one of the most compelling stories is the author's own experience with manifesting a specific day in their life in Curacao. Remember how they described their ideal day in detail?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. They were waking up in Curacao, enjoying coffee on their patio, listening to the birds sing. It sounded idyllic.
It was, and what's even more remarkable is that it wasn't just a coincidence. They had visualized that exact scenario for months, feeling the emotions, engaging all their senses. And then it manifested into reality.
That's such a powerful testament to the power of consistent visualization.
It really is. But the guide also emphasizes that manifestation isn't always about the big dramatic outcomes. It's also about the small, everyday wins.
Like finding the perfect parking spot.
Exactly. The guide shares a story about the author manifesting a parking spot in a crowded area, simply by visualizing it in detail and believing it would be there. And sure enough, when they arrived, there it was. It sounds almost too good to be true, but it speaks to the power of shifting our mindset from scarcity to abundance.
I love that because sometimes it's those small wins that really boost our faith and keep us going on this journey.
Absolutely. And speaking of faith, the guide reminds us that belief is a crucial ingredient in manifestation. We need to cultivate a deep, unwavering belief in the future we want to create.
But what if you're struggling with doubt or disbelief?
Mhm.
What does the guide suggest for overcoming those mental blocks?
That's a great question, and the guide addresses it head on. It acknowledges that doubt is a normal part of the process, but it also provides practical tools for overcoming those doubts and strengthening our belief.
Like,
Well, one technique it recommends is reframing our limiting beliefs. So instead of saying, I'll never be able to afford my dream home, we can reframe it as, I'm attracting the resources and opportunities to create my dream home.
so it's about shifting our language from negative to positive and focusing on what we want rather than what we don't want.
Exactly. It's about consciously choosing thoughts that empower us rather than disempower us. And the guide also encourages us to surround ourselves with positive influences. People, books, music, anything that uplifts our spirits and reinforces our belief in the possibility of our dreams.
That's so important. It's like creating a positive feedback loop that amplifies our manifesting power. Now, before we move on to part 3, I want to remind everyone to hit that like button and subscribe to the Book Summary Podcast for more deep dives like this one. We'll be back after a short break to explore even more insights from this masterclass guide on manifestation. Welcome back. We're diving into the final part of our exploration of manifestation. And I'm curious what else this guide has to offer.
Well, it kind of shifts gears a bit in this last section and starts talking about gratitude. It emphasizes that gratitude isn't just a nice feeling, but it's like an energetic force that amplifies our manifesting power.
Okay. I can see how appreciating what you already have could create a more positive mindset. But how does that actually translate into manifesting new things?
Well, the guide explains that when we focus on gratitude, we shift our energy from a place of lack to a place of abundance. We start to see the world through a lens of possibility rather than limitation. And that shift in perception makes us more magnetic to the things we want to attract.
So it's about recognizing the abundance that already exists in our lives, which then paves the way for even more abundance to flow in.
Exactly. And the guide offers some practical suggestions for cultivating gratitude, like keeping a gratitude journal, writing thank you notes, expressing appreciation to the people in our lives, and simply noticing the beauty and goodness that surrounds us every day.
It sounds like gratitude is more than just a passive feeling. It's an active practice that we can cultivate.
Absolutely. And the guide goes on to connect gratitude with this idea of raising our vibration. Remember how we talked about aligning our energy with the reality we want to create?
Yes, I remember that. It's about becoming a vibrational match for our desires.
Right. And the guide explains that gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to raise our vibration. When we're feeling grateful, our energy naturally shifts to a higher frequency, and that makes us more magnetic to positive experiences and outcomes.
So it's like gratitude is a tuning fork. That helps us align with the frequency of abundance and joy.
That's a beautiful analogy. I think it really captures the essence of what the guide is trying to convey. Now, another key takeaway from this last section is the importance of living in alignment with our desired outcomes.
Okay. So it's not enough to just visualize and affirm our desires. We need to actually embody the qualities and actions that are consistent with those desires.
Precisely. Remember that powerful quote we mentioned earlier: if you want to create a peaceful life, start living a peaceful life. If you want to create happiness, then become happy.
Yes, that one really resonated with me.
It really speaks to the power of aligning our actions with our aspirations. If we want to manifest abundance, we need to start acting as if we're already abundant. If we want to manifest love, we need to start radiating love.
It's like the universe is saying, show me you're serious about this, and I'll meet you halfway.
That's a great way to put it. And the guide even suggests that this alignment of action and intention is more important than the specific techniques we use.
So it's less about following a rigid formula,
Yeah,
and more about embodying the essence of what we want to create.
exactly. It's about living in a way that reflects our deepest desires and values. Now, in the final pages, the guide emphasizes the power of community and encourages readers to share their manifestation stories with others.
Oh, I love that. Because sometimes it's hearing other people's experiences that really inspires us and strengthens our own beliefs.
Absolutely. And the guide suggests that when we share our stories, we create this ripple effect of positive energy that can uplift and empower others. It's about creating a collective consciousness of abundance and possibility.
That's a beautiful vision. It's like weaving a tapestry of shared dreams and aspirations.
It is. And the guide even invites readers to join a specific online community called Women Empowering Women to connect with like-minded individuals and support each other on this journey.
That's fantastic. It's a reminder that we don't have to do this alone. There's a whole community of people out there who are cheering us on and sharing their own wisdom and experiences.
Exactly. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into this masterclass guide on manifestation. I hope this exploration has been insightful and inspiring.
It certainly has been for me. I've learned so much about the nuances of manifestation and how to apply these principles in my own life.
Well, it's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
And before we sign off, I want to encourage everyone listening to share their own thoughts, insights, or even personal manifestation stories in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you and continue this conversation. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Book Summary Podcast for more deep dives into fascinating books like this one. Until next time, keep dreaming big, keep believing, and keep manifesting those dreams into reality.